Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Friday, August 31st. This is Gina Palma. Over the next couple of days, we will have still some impacts to fire potential. Today, we'll see some remaining gusty, dry winds over southern Utah. Also across southern Idaho, we'll see some gusty winds, however not as strong as what we saw yesterday. We also will see some isolated thunderstorms over the central and northern mountains of Utah and also over parts of eastern Utah. As we go through the day today, we'll generally have much lighter winds today across where our fires are over northern Utah and northeast Nevada. However, this evening and overnight tonight, as a cold front moves through, we'll see the winds shift to the northeast over northern Nevada and to the northwest over northern Utah, and will be kind of breezy during the overnight hours tonight and this evening. We could see some gusts around 25 miles per hour during those periods, which would be unusual for the nighttime hours. Also, relative humidity will only drop to between 35 and 45% over those areas, so still be quite dry. As we move into Saturday, we still may see some isolated thunderstorms over the higher terrain of Utah, but otherwise much quieter conditions. Over the last 24 hours, we only saw a few lightning strikes over parts of eastern Idaho and Wyoming, with very light amounts of precipitation, also some showers over other parts of southern and central Idaho. We did see a couple showers over far northeast Utah, but this area over northern Nevada was just chaff from the radar, so no precipitation fell across Nevada yesterday. We did see light initial attack across the Great Basin yesterday, however, a couple of new large fires over northern Utah and northeast Nevada. Over the last 7 days, precipitation has been mainly targeted over central Idaho and Wyoming, and also over eastern sides of the Great Basin. And looking at the last 2 weeks, the above normal precipitation is mainly confined to central and eastern Idaho into Wyoming, with much lesser amounts of precipitation further south and very dry conditions continuing for the last several weeks across much of Nevada into southwest Idaho. How this has affected our fuel conditions: ERCs did drop with the cold front that moved through several days ago, however, have been coming up with the warmer temperatures and are above the 80th to 90th percentile over much of western and northern Nevada into northern Utah and southern Idaho. Fuels have still not fully recovered over parts of central Idaho that got more precipitation and over parts of Utah that have been seeing more precipitation recently. Looking at some of our fuels charts over southern Idaho, you can see those ERCs did drop significantly with the cold frontal passage, however have been increasing somewhat and are still above normal for the time of year. Over the rest of northern Nevada and northern Utah, looking at an ERC chart there that's pretty representative of that area, ERCs did drop a little bit with the cold front due to the cooler temperatures, however still are well above normal and are still near records for the time of year. The satellite loop from this morning shows the trough of low pressure, which will be pushing a cold front through the Great Basin today. This will continue with some breezy winds well out ahead of the front over southern and eastern Utah, and also will eventually shift the winds across the Great Basin to the north and northeast as we go into the nighttime hours, and that trough moves further east. Otherwise, generally clear skies for the western half of the Great Basin today. Looking at the model showing smoke dispersion forecast for the next couple of days, you can see today still smoke in the same general areas across Idaho into northern Utah and Nevada. Then as we move into tonight and that cold front moves by to the east, winds will start shifting to the north, and that will push that smoke out of central Idaho and a little bit further south. And then on Saturday, pushes the smoke from the fires generally out of Idaho into much of Utah and Nevada. Looking at the weather for later today, again, generally dry conditions and lighter winds than what we saw yesterday, but still moisture over the eastern half of Utah for those thunderstorms to continue. We have no high risk today. However, these areas that are dry over northeast Nevada and northern Utah, where we have our large fires, will still be at risk with very low relative humidity today, despite the lighter winds through much of the afternoon. If we look at the relative humidity today, again, single digits to low teens across much of Nevada and Utah, and above 20% for much of Idaho. Today, winds again will be less than what we saw yesterday across most of the area, still gusts around 30 or 35 miles per hour over eastern, central, and southern Utah, and gusts around 20 to 25 miles per hour for central Idaho. However, as we go into this evening, the winds will shift to the north and northeast and actually pick up during the evening and late tonight over northeast Nevada and northern Utah, so we will see kind of this green area shift further south with those breezy winds around 20 to 25 miles per hour during the evening and nighttime period. As we move into Saturday, that front pushes off to the east with drier and warmer conditions and lighter winds area-wide. We still may have a few lingering isolated storms over eastern Utah on Saturday, with no high risk issued. Looking at the relative humidity, as that cold front does push through the Great Basin tonight and into tomorrow, we will see relative humidity increase a little bit, but still remain generally in the teens across much of the region and still in the single digits in the far south. Winds will remain out of the north or northwest on Saturday and be breezy generally across southern Idaho into northern and central Utah, with gusts around 25 miles per hour or even some areas seeing slightly higher gusts. These gusts over eastern Utah are with the outflow winds with thunderstorms. On Sunday, drier air spreads across the Great Basin with no significant weather expected, with warmer temperatures and generally lighter winds. Relative humidity dropped back into the single digits to low to mid-teens area-wide, and the northwest winds will decrease across Idaho and northern Utah, but again, still that general northwest wind direction will continue on Sunday. Precipitation is only confined to those thunderstorms over the eastern and southern portions of Utah. As we move into early next week, moisture starts returning to southern areas of the Great Basin on Monday, so we could see showers and thunderstorms over the southern half of Utah into the Arizona Strip and southern Nevada, with drier conditions further north. As we move into Tuesday, that moisture starts to spread a little bit further north, up into parts of eastern and northern Utah, so we will be watching these areas for any potential high risk, as right now these could be a mix of wet and dry storms. As we move into Wednesday, the moisture spreads a little bit further north, and by Thursday, a trough moves into the area, lifting that moisture well north into the northern Rockies, so we could see potentially drier conditions with breezy winds behind these thunderstorms. This will be a pattern we will be watching despite being early September. It could still be critical in some areas. Precipitation is mainly confined to Utah for much of the period. However, we will start to see some of that moisture move north and west, and it may bring some areas of light rainfall as we move into the mid-portion of next week. The 8 to 14-day outlook, taking us into the second week of September, shows above normal temperatures and generally below normal precipitation. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.